name is Laurie Hart. For the past year and a half, I've been writing a book about Scandinavian fiddle music, and now it's ready to print. It's a 400-page tune book, spiral bound, so it opens flat on a music stand like this, and it will also be available as a PDF ebook. You can order your copy now at my website, lauriehartfiddle.com, and help me fund the first printing and gauge how many books to print. The tune book goes along with 5 albums of fiddle music I recorded between 2010 and 2023. The book includes all 140 tunes from the albums from Sweden, Norway, Finland, and Denmark. There are a dozen more maps in the book which show the locations mentioned in the text, where the tunes and players come from. The tunes are arranged by dance type and rhythmic groove, and also by difficulty from beginner to advanced. The book starts with marches for fiddle and Nyckelharpa and a variety of dance tunes from the 5th album. Then waltz, polka, Swedish, and hambo from the 3rd album. 55 Swedish polskas from the 1st and 2nd albums, ending with Norwegian tunes, Halling, Puls, and Springar, for fiddle and Norwegian Hardanger fiddle, though really most of the tunes can be played on almost any instrument. On the albums, I'm joined by Swedish fiddler Stefan Åhlström, an outstanding harmony player, and it is Stefan's harmonies that I have transcribed for about half the tunes in the book. On other tracks of the albums, I play with guitar, mandola, bouzouki, or harmonium accompaniment. And for these tunes, there are chord symbols in the book. This book is unique among tune books as far as I've seen, in that it gives so much cultural and historical context for the music. From medieval and Renaissance instruments, through the arrival of the Polonaise and later the waltz from continental Europe, the church cracking down on fiddling and dancing, which was thought to be sinful, to the nostalgia of the national romantic movement, the folk revival of the 1970s, and right up to the present. Even if you're not a musician, if you're interested in Nordic history, languages, and culture, there is plenty to interest you, with the stories of colorful characters who played the tunes, 350 photos, many of dancers and folk costumes, and an extensive glossary of words that relate to music, dance, and culture. There are spooky stories of Nyckelharpa, the magical musician who lives in a waterfall, and other dangerous creatures associated with certain tunes, like this howling tune on Hardanger fiddle, Fångnetyllen, the tune the devil hummed, which I play in A-E-A C-sharp tuning with left-hand pizzicato. I've created the resource I wish I'd had when I discovered Scandinavian music and dance in the 1980s, with all its different dances and tune types. I've done a lot of teaching of this music over 30+ years, so I've learned what are the trickiest concepts and techniques for students to pick up. There are practice tips and style tips with many of the tunes, and I've delved deep into the question of how to notate the exact rhythmic grooves of some tunes, where all the beats in a bar are not of the same length. I introduced the typical bowing patterns for different rhythms. Here's the bowing for early 2nd beat polska, like the one we just heard. Down, up, down, up, down, up. 1, 2, 3, and 1, 2, 3, and 1. A neat variation we add to even beat polskas, like the one I played with Stefan earlier in this video, is called infinity bowing or rullstroke. explain exactly how to do it in the book, and then suggest where you can use infinity bowing in certain tunes. Drones, quarter tones, ornaments, and the use of alternate fiddle tunings are explained throughout the book. Really, you can think of this book as a self-paced course in Nordic fiddling. The appendix has scales and arpeggios to practice, including scales in the different modes that turn up in this music, and an explanation of key signatures and rhythm notation in case you are rusty or new to reading music. I recommend the print version so that you can easily flip back and forth to the maps, the glossary, etc. But I'm also creating an ebook version, especially for my international readers, since shipping books outside the US is quite pricey. You'll need a large tablet screen to be able to read full-page sheet music, but you can also print out the tunes as you work on them if they don't fit on your screen. The ebook has color photos, while the print book is black and white. The recent albums, 4 and 5, aren't on Spotify, Apple Music, and YouTube yet. I'm hoping to sell some before I give them away to these streaming services, which pay musicians in fractions of pennies. I hope you'll love my albums and this long-awaited tune book. I also offer private lessons in person or over Zoom, and I'd be happy to help you learn to play Scandinavian music. Thank you so much for your support.